Don't forget to like, subscribe and share the videos.
Hello, welcome to Ganesh IAS Academy. This is the special session. In this session, we are going to discuss about the previous year UPSC Mains economic question. Let's begin the session. This question was asked in 2015. It is a 12.5 mark, 200 words question. So the question is related to the solar energy, which means it is comes under the renewable sector. So every year there will be any questions that will be related to the renewable energy. So you need to have certain data related to the renewable energy. For example, India set a target of 50% of their energy needs should be met by the renewable energy by 2030. So this is the target set by the India. So you have to start you can easily start your answer by this. Okay, so you can easily start your answer by this thing. Yeah, for every renewable energy question. So that is the benefit of this thing. Okay, so because within this 50%, they will speak about 175 gigawatts is need should be met by the solar energy. Okay, and then for wind energy also they will set a target. So in that way there is a certain targets. Even though if you don't know about these things, you can simply say this thing in your intro. That is more than enough. Or else you can say about a Paris Agreement. So in 2015, the UNFCCC's COP happened. In that, they set a target of reducing the emissions of the greenhouse gas emissions. By the way, to overcome that greenhouse gas emissions means we need to shift from the fossil fuels to the renewable energy. So in that way also you can give the intro of your answer. Or else you can say about the INDC. Okay, so it is a commitment. Okay, nationally determined commitment made by the India. So India's commitment towards the climate change to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. In that way also you can give the intro. Okay, so these are the various intros you can follow. Next, so the here question is, to what factors can be the recent dramatic fall in equipment cost and tariff of solar energy be attributed? Question mark. What implication does the trend have for the thermal power producers and related industries? It is a 200 words question. So it is a simple question. The question is clearly asking about the reason for the dramatic fall in the equipment cost related to the solar energy, and also what is the implication it is going to provide towards the thermal sector. Okay, thermal power plant. So that is the question. So the reason for the dramatic fall in the equipment cost is, there are many things. We will discuss one by one. The first major thing is about the technological advancement. So the people that are producing this solar panels or solar cells, there is a huge growth in the technology. So there is a huge investment happened related to the solar energy, and also due to that there is a huge growth in the R&D related to the solar energy that leads to the technological advancement in the solar energy sector. So that lead to the price fall. So which means there is a huge investment and also the huge production is happening, and that is going to lead to the huge benefits like competition also happening. So all the things leads to the price reduction. So the second major thing is competition. And also third thing is about the cheap imports. When it comes to solar panels, the cheap import is obviously from China. So that is also the factor. Next, so these are the major factors. And another major factor is the government. Government is trying to incentivize the solar energy productions by providing the subsidies or else tax exemptions for the companies. So that is also one of the major things. So that is also pulling the private players into that thing. So by the way, there is a huge growth in the companies related to that. So that is also happening. So these are the major things. Other than that, yeah, it's the private participation, competition, cheap imports, government promoting technology investments. So these are the major things leads to the huge fall in the equipment cost and the tariff of the solar energy. Okay. Next, the implications related to the thermal power plant. So, if there is a growth of solar energy production, obviously there is a fall in the thermal energy plants. The reason is here. So the people are now shifting towards the renewable energy. So they will focus on the solar energy. They will reduce their dependence on the coal-based thermal power plants. So the reason for this is obviously the competition. First thing is competition. So due to the competition, there will be the reduction in the demand for this thermal energy power plants. And also that will reduces the coal dependency also reduced. So these are the major things. Next, there will be, so there is another positive things about this thing is, so the coal will be reserved for the future. So this is also the one thing. Okay, so this is also the implications related to the thermal producers. And also they also try to shift their focus towards the solar energy, because when comparing to the thermal power plant, the production from the solar energy, for example, for production of 1 gigawatts, it will be very less when comparing to the thermal energy. So that will lead to the shift from the thermal energy producer to the solar energy producer. So these are the things may happen. This is also happening. So that is the one thing. There is a huge growth of the solar energy. And also another thing is it will reduce the emissions of greenhouse gases. So that is also the things are going to happen. But there is a possibility for the growth of the unemployment happens in the thermal energy power plant. But at the same time, due to the growth of the solar energy, there is a obvious increases in the employment and also obvious increases in the economy. Because once we are becoming the huge producer of the solar panels and the solar photovoltaic cell, we will be the huge exporter. So that is also the benefit will happen. So these are the major things of the implication of this growth of the solar energy sector. In the conclusion, you can say that by the slow growth in the solar energy sector, India can definitely achieve the India's commitment made towards the Paris Agreement. In that positive note, you can conclude your answer. Okay, and also you can also speak about safeguard duty. So, for example, the cheap imports of the solar cells. Okay, the cheap imports of the solar cells, the government is putting a safeguard duties on this import, because India is also producing. In India also there is a small producers related to the solar cells. To safeguard the domestic producers, India is putting a safeguard duty. You can, in the conclusion, you can say that India need to reduce a certain safeguard duties on that imports, because if we need to make a growth in the sector, we have to increases the usage of the solar panels. So solar panels usage need to be increased means we definitely need the imports, because the domestic producer can't fulfill the needs of the whole India. So you can conclude that India need to reduce the safeguard duties on the solar panels or else the solar cells. You can conclude in that manner also. Okay, so these are the various types of conclusion, and this is the way you have to follow your structuring in the answer. Okay, thank you.